Psychology Podcast Season 2, brought to you by the Vice City. And my name is Jesus Acevedo Jr., and I'm joined by, let's be honest, the person who makes this podcast work, the Zodiac GM. What's going on, Zodiac?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing good. It's our 31st episode here, and we just finished watching the Houston Rockets and the Memphis Grizzlies, a close game against two of the Western Conference best. What? Just your first quick reaction off of that game, Zodiac.
Oh my God, those are the type of games I love watching. Very close, two strong-minded teams, strong-willed teams. Oh my God, that's the way every NBA game should be played, just like that.
And to me, that's playoff basketball, right? That game felt like playoff intensity, just two teams duking it out back and forth. I don't think neither team really had a big lead, and I think even the big leads when they were taking, it didn't feel like it because they were just going at it, duke, trading punches, So this will be two teams that I wouldn't be surprised if we see them in the Western Conference Finals or, like in a matchup in the playoffs, because look, seeding is going to go crazy. Let's be honest, especially in the Western Conference. It is going to be wild where half a game or a game separates these teams. That's how tough it is, Zodiac.
Yep. Indeed, man. I like this Rockets team and Memphis too. I like them just as well, man. They're both going to do really, really well in the playoffs. But wow, the Western Conference is just stacked. Denver's there. Oh my goodness, it's loaded.
Stacked. It's a stacked Western Conference, And we're gonna kick it off and talk about our most surprising and disappointment so far of the NBA season. And the reason why we're talking about that, listeners, is because we're about the halfway point of the season. So can you believe that? We're halfway, more or less, to the NBA season. Can you believe that?
It happens too fast. Seems like it wasn't so long ago. We were just mentioning about opening day. Seemed like, right?
It seemed like just yesterday we were doing a Twitter Spaces breaking down the NBA draft, and now here we are halfway through the NBA season.
Right.
So we're gonna kick it off and talk about the most surprising thing or person or team or executive of the NBA season. And for me, we're gonna start out with mines. For me, Zodiac, I think I'm not sure if there's any journalist or any sports broadcaster or any people that watch the game that could have seen what this Cleveland Cavaliers team was going to do. Definitely not me, for sure. I saw they were a very middle of the road team last season, right? Like they were a 5 seed, I think, last year, 4 and 5. They were just, the pieces were there, and that's what makes this interesting is that it's essentially the same team, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Zodiac? It's essentially the same team?
Yeah, same team, just different coaching staff. It's
that's what I want to talk to you about is that. So from a synergy perspective, how does last year's roster compare to this year's roster? And if there's not that much difference, are we to believe that is really just the synergy that the coaching staff brought?
In my opinion, I feel it's a very strong point because my analysis last year on the coaching staff, Boston Celtics had the strongest synergy as a coaching staff last year, and they ended up being the number one team, right? And then they took away Charles Lee, he moved on to Charlotte, and then they fit in another energy that was opposite. I can't remember his name right off bat, but he was a Libra, so it kind of threw off the synergy a little bit. But for this season, when I analyzed all the coaching staff, Cleveland actually had the best synergy as far as for whole units, and that's surprising because they're now number one. To me, it's mind-boggling that it's just the difference from last year to this year was Boston. Now this year Cleveland. And that's a strong point because when you have when your coaching staff all understanding the head coach's energy, which is Kenny Atkinson, he's a Gemini. That takes you in so many angles of game planning, and executing and translating your views over to the players and all that. And the vibes are good, and that's what they're having right now. But on top of that, they have the right players that connects well with. Notice how Mobley's having a really good season this year. And we get another Gemini because he connects well with Atkinson. Garland himself. I felt that he was sort of unhappy, quote unquote, last year, but this year he's gotten like a new edge to him, right? And then Strus fits that team. Niang, Okoro, even they have 2 cuss signs, which is odd. Not too many teams even have one. But Wade he's actually a cuss sign of a Scorpio Libra, right? And then you also have Alan, who's an Aries Taurus cusp. I thought that's really interesting.
The
So,
Aries Taurus cuts is very
yep,
interesting because that
yep,
means
yep.
because Aries is very relatable with a Gemini, and
Uh-huh.
but that Taurus also drives that Aries to be very hard headed, very So
Hmm.
I could see that in Jared Allen, that the Taurus come out whenever because he's solid. Like you look at him, very solid in what he does.
You're right. You're right, and he's dependable as well. I mean, that the consistency is there. You don't really hear anything too fancy. Seems like Taurus are like that. They're not really fancy. They're just
Getting
dependable.
the job done. They're
They get
just
the
doing the
job
job.
done. Yeah, at the
Yeah.
most simplest way. They don't ask for too much. They just get it done. That's it. So it kind
But
of
so
fits that.
but going back to the coaching staff, it's just wild to think about how it's the same roster, same stars, and look, there were talks in the offseason. Was Donovan going to be traded? Was he,
Hmm.
there were those talks, and now those talks have gone away completely. Everybody is happy in Cleveland. But
You're
yeah,
right.
it's the coaching staff, and you brought Evan Mobley, and I think I mentioned it in one of our earlier episodes this season. Whenever we were talking about Cleveland at that time, I feel like Evan Mobley has been set free. Kind of. I feel
Hmm.
like,
You're
in his
ooh,
first couple in his first couple of seasons, he was good, right? Rookie of the year, but he was a bit contained. He was
hmm,
like
hmm,
still like in the box, right?
hmm.
Playing within the box, still being effective. But Kenny Atkinson came in and he let him out the box. It's like, all right,
Yeah.
bro, you can play. Go play. Go do
That
what you do,
Gemini,
what you
you
exactly.
know you're a Gemini. Gemini and Gemini together is like wow.
Yeah.
Like anything is possible, and I think that's the collaboration that's going on between those two right there. But wow,
And let's not forget also they do have their star in Donovan Mitchell, a Virgo, and what helps in is that Virgo is a mutual sign, right? Now, what is
uh-huh.
his moon sign? What is Donovan Mitchell's moon
So he's
sign?
a Virgo Cancer. So they are very adaptable, which is great. But one thing I kind of noticed, Cleveland is the number one team, and usually what happens with the number one team, they usually have like a quote unquote MVP candidate somewhere somehow,
Right,
right?
right,
But that's
right.
what I think it's a little bit strange about Cleveland because yes, they're number one team, but no one really talks about Donovan Mitchell because he is in a sense. In terms of synergy, the outlier, he's sort of like the wild card that doesn't really fit with the core unit, including the head coach, but he fits just enough because the talent is there, right?
Right.
But you don't hear much of him being talked about MVP or anything because they're good enough, they're strong enough, in a sense to be where they're at. Not needing his full capacity of skill, talent, and usage in a
Right
sense.
now.
So right now, you're
Right
right.
now.
Right now,
Right
right
now.
now. But
Playoff
once
time. Oh,
playoff time,
oh, watch
it will
out.
definitely need him. Yes, it will definitely need
And
him.
see,
So
and I think this is why it's so great that he's not overexerting himself so far throughout the regular season, like he was in his first seasons with Cleveland. Like with Jazz, there were some games he had to carry him. I haven't sensed, and maybe I missed the game, Cleveland Cavaliers fans. Let me know, but I haven't seen a game or heard or read a report or seen highlights where he had to carry them. You
you're
know,
right. You're
throughout
right.
this season, this has been a Cleveland Cavaliers win every single game. Yeah, different people step
Hmm.
up here and there, but they've gotten like so many help from so many different people multiple nights. And I
Yeah,
think that's why, going to your point, we haven't heard about Donovan Mitchell, but we will in the playoffs.
you're right. You're right. Yeah, 100% right.
Now, from what is your surprise this
Surprise
year?
team.
Or
Wow.
team or person or just in general, the surprise of the NBA season so far?
Honestly, I'm surprised by Orlando. Orlando Magic, they're
Orlando.
getting the job done. You got to give it up
Yes.
to Coach Mosley. Okay, he's a Libra. So the thing with the core unit with the Magic is they sort of remind me a little bit. I mean, as far as for the synergy alignment, like the way the Golden State Warriors were whenever they were, getting up there as far as for winning all these championships, right? Because Kerr is also a Libra, right? But the thing with the Magic, the core players are opposite synergy of him. As far as for energies,
Hmm.
Bankero is a Scorpio, Wagner is a Virgo, Batadze is a Cancer. So I think that's strange, but they're getting the job done. See, they're more Earth Water dominant. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. But he's making it happen. I think one of his strong point, of course, is defense. you know,
Yeah.
and with all the injuries that's actually what's really more surprising. They've had so many players that are injured, but they're
And
still
still
winning
won.
games.
You
They're
know
still winning
why?
games.
And
Why?
I think you have tweeted out about this synergy. The lineups that they use have always had synergy, either a 4-1 or even a 5-0. I think at one point, I think didn't they beat Boston with the 5-0 lineup?
100%. Yes, because De Silva, being a Taurus, a player that they drafted, Bitadze is a huge factor to the synergy connection, connects everyone together. Him being a Cancer, and then they have Harris being a Virgo. I mean, to me, it seems like they just plug these players from the 11th, 12th, 13th, man down, and then
Yeah.
they just plug them in, and they so happen to fit the energy,
Yep.
the connection. Even
Yep.
Mo Wagner is a Taurus. I mean, they're just good. I don't know. To me, that's what's even more surprising. It doesn't matter how many times players that they're injured, but they're still making it happen.
And you know that shout out to their GM. Who is your Orlando Magic GM? I'm sorry I don't know that because that goes to their
Hmm.
draft. And let's be honest, they've had a quiet resurgence.
You're
If
right.
we're being honest, they've had a quiet resurgence where the players that they've picked. Anthony Parker, shout out Anthony Parker. He was named general manager of the Orlando Magic in 2023.
Hmm.
He was the assistant general manager for 2 seasons before, so he's been there with the family for a while, the
Interesting.
Magic.
And guess what a
So
sign is?
wait, let me know. Earth sign?
Yeah. Mm,
Earth,
we just talked
what is
about
it?
this. Gemini. Interesting.
Ha!
That's interesting. So
There we go.
yeah, I think that's interesting.
Interesting. So a lot of Gemini power so far in this early season. Now we're gonna move on to the surprise, and the surprise for me is I'm gonna have to eat crow and be like, I can't believe that I bought into the hype of the Phoenix Suns.
You mean
Zodiac.
surprised that they're not doing well?
Sorry, my
Okay.
disappointment of the season. There you
Disappointment.
go.
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
my
Okay.
disappointment of the season. My surprise and disappointment that they're not doing well. Because
Okay.
I bought into the hype for the second year in a row, right? I thought they were going to do good. I thought that the addition of Tyus Jones at point guard, okay, now they're going to settle down. He's a Taurus, he's solid. But
Hmm.
I just new coach, it just with Coach Bud being a Leo, I thought that was going to right the ship. But and even with this lineup change, Bradley Beal coming out, they're 5-5 in their last 10 games. I just gotta say, it might be time to pull the plug, and I know Houston
Hmm.
Rockets fans are happy because they hold a lot of picks and there's talks, Devin Booker and whatever going to the Rockets, but it's disappointing, that the Phoenix
Hmm.
Suns, but I disappointing, but I also have to tip my hat to their owner, Matt. I'm
Ishby.
banking out
Ishby.
HB,
Yeah.
because look, he came in here and he's like, I want to win. Let's go ahead, do what you gotta do. He gave green light on everything, so he wanted to win. It just so happens that the team that never managed to get it over the line, which is funny because they went to the NBA Finals with Chris Paul and Devin Booker
Hmm.
and Mikal Bridges and Cam
You're right.
Johnson. So they almost got rid of the team that could have taken them back by trying to take another shortcut or trying to take a
Hmm.
shortcut, and in trying to take that shortcut to return there, they kind of broke up what they had. I mean, can you imagine now in Mikal Bridges, a Cam Johnson,
Wow.
Chris Paul still like I think they're probably running the West if they're still all together. So that's my
Yeah.
disappointment of these seasons. What do you got to say about the
I
Phoenix
agree.
Suns,
I
Zodiac?
agree. Yeah, I agree. I think what kind of gave him that trend downwards was actually getting Kevin Durant, believe it or not, unfortunately. Because the thing with Kevin Durant, he's a high influence energy, like meaning that his skill level, talent, everything else. If he's on your team, you're going to use him. He's going to be your focal point on offense or whatever it is in your game planning, right? And that's a big deal, right? Because you're bringing such energy into a team that quote unquote was really good in synergy, which they were, that made it to the NBA Finals. Even Jay Crowder, to Chris Paul, and even Biombo, and they
Yes.
had a strong synergy, meaning that I remember I posted this tweet about that Suns team that made the finals. I think their starting five was very strong. Even I remember Landry Shamet was even in that team. I mean, they were all compatible, and it fit perfectly well for Booker, right? So, but you're bringing a Cardinal energy that once he goes to your team, he's going to be the go-to guy. So that kind of takes away a little bit from Booker. That kind of takes away a little bit from Nurkic. And top of that, they brought in another Cardinal energy in Beal, which sort of was like, yeah, you're bringing a little bit too much. This is the thing about NBA franchises. Where a lot of people think just because they're very, very talented players, which is good. Talent is good. Don't get me wrong. It's just that sometimes you got to be careful of the type of talent that you're bringing in, because the energy of them is so much of a high influence that it disrupts the rhythm of the team. They had it going. They didn't need to make an extra trade. If they would have gotten a player before instead of Durant, if they would have gotten a player like Jimmy Butler, that would have been great, because their synergy would have been the same still, and their talent would have been improved that way. I think that would have been a better route for them to go. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I still see them doing well because of their talent alone. The synergy's not the best as it was with those Phoenix Suns. When Chris Paul was there, but they're still up there. Yeah, they're still.
Yeah, they'll make the playoffs for sure, But yeah, I don't think they may go maybe second round. So yeah, but now moving on to you, Zodiac. What's your disappointment of the NBA season so far?
It's and I've been high on this team for a while, and I noticed whenever they got the head coach, I was trying to be very optimistic, because I'm like, man, their synergy is good. They're young, but the head coach is not the right coach. And this is the Charlotte Hornets, right? Charles Lee,
Hornets.
I like Charles Lee. I mean, he has the credentials, mainly because if you think about it, okay, this is just another angle to look at it. A lot of players or coaches that get their promotion because of their success of their previous team, they get paid well, they get promoted, which is great. But somehow, sometimes they go to the team that doesn't fit them, which kind of you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, and I've seen this a lot. And where a player does good for one team because he fits that team so perfectly well. Sometimes it does work. Like Hartenstein, for example, he was a great fit with the Knicks, but he so happened to join a team that also was a great fit. So those scenarios are good, but there's times where that's the type of situation. I think that's where Charles Lee falls, because he's a great coach. I can see him being a really, really good coach, but he doesn't have the right energy. So he's a Scorpio with a Gemini moon, right? If I'm not mistaken, I have to double check. But I know he has a mutable moon. But that's a coach that will be in the NBA for a long time. It's just that it's not the right team. LaMelo Ball, Miller, Mark Williams, Bridges. These are all fire energies, right? It doesn't really bode well for a water energy, a passionate energy as a Scorpio, which is what Charles Lee is. But that's a disappointing part, because I'm excited about the Charlotte Hornets because their potential is there. It's like they have the pieces, and Charlotte just, their fans deserve something to cheer on. And I think it's time, but I think there's like whenever they get close, they make a move that's like, when I got Charles Lee, I was like, it's not the best one. And then
let me ask
coach?
You. Who? No, I think you're gonna say the name Kenny Atkinson, right? Yes, Kenny Atkinson.
And I mentioned this so many times about the Hornets. He would have been the perfect coach that fit very well to the Charlotte Hornets team. And look what he's doing with the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Oh my God, LaMelo Ball would be like a whole new level of player that the fans will look at and be like, wow. I mean, he's already up there, right? Because they're talking really good about him, but we'll see. We'll see how the season pans out.
I mean, and look, there's a world out there, right? If you're someone that believes in the multiverse, multiple universes out there. There's a world out there where Atkinson indeed follows through and takes the Hornets job. Because he took it, right? What was it in 2022? Right? He agreed,
but backed out. Yeah,
and he backed out. He just said he had a 4-year deal. That's in 2022. So 4 years. That means that he will be in his 3rd year right now.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine where the Charlotte Hornets with this Charlotte Hornets with this now seeing what he's done with Cleveland and how they're flying, the way they're playing, how Mobley's been unleashed. Wow.
And the thing that's interesting about the Charlotte Hornets during LaMelo Ball's tenure, like his career, right? He has yet work with the coach that's compatible to him. From James Borrego being a Scorpio, from Steve Clifford being a Virgo, and then to another Scorpion, Charles Lee. I mean, these are all great coaches, very formidable, right? They're just not the right fit. And if you're star of a franchise player, if you understand his energy type, so LaMelo Ball is a Leo with a Libra moon, right? So he has that aura. He's very flashy, and you could just tell the talent, the skill that he brings. But as a front office, in my opinion, you got to find the right coach for him. I mean, you see it all. The best teams in the league, they have coaches that are compatible with star players, and they're up. They're up. Top 5 in Western Eastern Conference. You name it. Cleveland has it. Boston has it. Even the Rockets, Memphis, Denver. These teams I mentioned have the coach that matches their best 2 or 3 players, top 3, right? And that's a big deal, but not many teams even consider this. These are billion-dollar franchise or multi-million-dollar franchises. It's mind-boggling. It's just my opinion that this is a out-of-box thinking analysis, but I feel like it's a big deal that can elevate them to the next level.
I'll say this, whenever they asked Atkinson why he turned on, why he turned on job and everything, he said, "I didn't love how it went down." Atkinson said, "But I'm not going to disparage the Hornets in any way." This is my first time, reading that I didn't love how it went down. Thinking about it as a Gemini, Geminis, we're very quick decision makers sometimes.
And they think a lot. They think a lot. They have so many things going in their mind, So,
at the one time, trust me, there's so many things going on at once. So, I could see him being excited, be like, "This is my chance, right? Come on, I'm LaMelo Ball, like this is my chance to coach." And then kind of like seeing how everything went down. Just that I didn't love how it went down. Something rubbed in the wrong way. What's Mitch Kupchak? Because that's who he was talking to, I'm sure. What's his sign?
Kupchak. I want to say he's wait, is he for the Lakers?
May 24, another Gemini. Interesting. I don't know what happened there, but that's pretty interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. Huh. Because he was with the Hornets, right? Yeah. Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
Interesting. But, I think I maybe Charles Lee gets one more year and then they call it quit unless something happens, right?
Yeah. And
it's
I don't know. I feel like whoever the coach is, they're obviously the leader of the team. They're the one that's going to run the team, right? And I feel like NBA franchise should understand their energy type, or at least anticipate what type of coach you're going to be. As far as for how they relate to other energies, I feel like that's a strong point, right? And I mean, Charles Lee, believe it or not, would fit a team like the Pelicans, for example. If they do a coach swap, Willie Green goes to Charlotte, and then have Charles Lee go to the Pelicans, a healthy Pelicans team, I should say.
Right.
Yeah, you'll see his potential, his max potential, stand out even more. So I feel like that's the type of team that would fit very, very well for Charles Lee, and also for Willie Green going to Charlotte. I mean, that's just an example.
If only you could trade coaches. But speaking of potential, Russell Westbrook's potential has been released once again against the Denver Nuggets. And by potential, I mean his impact on the game. Zodiac, Russell Westbrook. This is the Russell Westbrook that has garnered so many fans throughout his career. This is the Russell Westbrook that won the MVP, that averaged a triple-double. This is the Russell Westbrook that you called it. Before the season, you said this is a sneaky addition by the Denver Nuggets because the signs all align, right? Correct. And in the beginning of the season, he was coming off the bench. They inserted him into the starting lineup, and 17 games into him being in the starting lineup, Denver is 13-4 in those games. Russell is 15 points a game, 8 assists, 7 rebounds, and it's just the connection between him and Nikola Jokic, that two-man game they have. Yep. I've seen Russell lob the ball to Nikola, wait, and then cut. It happens. I'm not sure how people are not like stopping it. But it's because this is a credit to Russell that he knows just when to cut. Like there'll be times when he hesitates, you see, and he just So just a glance and he's gone. And it's because he's so quick, he'll get to the spot before the defender can reach to him. And I really want you to talk to us about, tell me and the listeners about this relationship and the synergy that they have. But I want to say this quote that Michael Malone said about Russell Westbrook and Nikola Jokic. He said, there are moments watching him, speaking about Russell Westbrook, there are moments watching him and Nikola on the floor together where they are so in step with each other. Now tell us what the astrology has to say about that.
Wow, they're very compatible. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And there's a different side of analysis that I usually just keep on the back end to kind of get a better understanding how energies connect. When I analyze the way Westbrook's fit to this Denver Nuggets team, I mean, it was just too perfect, and he connects very well. Okay, so Jokic is a Pisces with the Libra moon, right? So what Russell Westbrook is a Scorpio with the Sagittarius moon. So they work very, very well. But what I
So
like
like
to
they
look
cross, right? Don't they cross? So like that,
they're just
like,
compatible all around. Like they understand each other. They're
wow.
very in sync. But I like to look at their connecting energies. Who the head coach? I mean, you have Malone, who is a Virgo with the Leo moon, right? And that's also another good connection. On top of that, Virgos they have a good way of adapting again, to make things work, right? And he's the right coach for Westbrook, right? Because there's not too many coaches that will fit his energy or understand him, but a coach, especially a Virgo coach, can see or how to use someone like Westbrook, and he's doing that. Not only that, he's very compatible to.
Wait! I gotta tell you another quote that he said, and I didn't pull this one, but I definitely remember reading it. He said, Michael Malone said, "No disrespect to all those other coaches, but why do you just put him on the corner? You need to you need to put him in position, which that includes giving him the ball." Exactly what you just said. It's almost like
Exactly.
he saw that detail. He's like, why are we just wasting him on the corner? We need to put
Right.
a move in, and going to what you were just saying about Michael Malone, by finding those details to unlock him.
You're right. There's something about Virgo coaches I love. I mean, the Phil Jackson, like Malone, Taylor Jenkins. I respect them so much because I feel like I feel like I don't know. I feel like they see what I see, and it's weird. Daryl Morey's also a Virgo, and it makes me think like a part of me makes me think if they're actually know about this synergy, or even just connecting signs because wow, like it's just amazing how everything connects, right? But Denver for years has been having a very strong synergy team for years. And I'm not sure if that's by design or not, or just a sole coincidence, but they definitely have it, right? They definitely have it. Westbrook, strong connection with Porter Jr. Don't forget about him. And then another guy that's healthy, Aaron Gordon. He's a Virgo. So Porter Jr. is a Cancer. Gordon is a Virgo. Just put it this way: Westbrook and Aaron Gordon. That's another connection that's really, really strong, right? So they're strong.
It's funny you say that because when Aaron Gordon, because I know he's been coming off the bench, he's going to come back into the starting lineup. And what I've been reading is that the Christian Braun will be coming off the bench. So now you're throwing Gordon into that
Oh my
lineup with
god!
Westbrook and Jokic. What does that tell you?
Yeah,
Tell us, what is
that's
the
a five
synergy
zero
like?
line. So that's an
5
A
0?
plus. That's an A plus. So they're going from an A minus, in my opinion, synergy with Braun starting, and if they replace Braun with Aaron Gordon, A plus, back to where they were when they won the championship.
Wow.
Starting lineup, right?
Starting
Because
like, yeah.
you got the two Pisces, which is already knows about this duo since the championship. Is Murray is a Pisces, so is Jokic. You got the Virgo and Aaron Gordon, sort of like the one that fits in and kind of helps all these energies connect. And you can kind of see in his play style, he'll do the defense if he needs to do a rebound. He'll guard it. Like those are the type of Virgo, or even a mutable sign. They'll do
Right.
that. They'll do whatever is asked for them. You have Porter Jr., who's a Cancer, sort of like the leader, quote unquote leader, and he's not the best player in the team, but
Right.
leader energy, right? He's the one that initiates. He's the mover. He's the one that will get this team going. So that's the thing about Cardinal energies. Like if you saw today's game, Bane, who's also a Cancer, Beal Cancer, Kawhi Leonard Cancer, like Cancer energies. That's kind of what they bring, but they bring it more in an emotional sense, right? So they're more like
Yeah.
emotional leaders, but they have a knack to make things go and happen. And then of course, Westbrook is that fixed energy that kind of completes that whole starting line. Great synergy, in my opinion. That's going to be scary if Aaron Gordon starts to. Oh my God! Just look out in the second half for Denver. So we'll see.
Wow, we'll see. And we were gonna add another topic. Talking a little bit more. So we're just gonna do a couple minutes on Cooper Flag having 42 points. Like when I saw that, I was like, okay, this guy is serious. I thought it was a lot of hype watching all his videos. I was like, okay, he's very athletic. Watching him at Duke, but yeah, this game, he might be one of them. He might be one of them once. He might be one of them once. What's his sign? Break it down for us. What's his sign?
So he's the Sagittarius, like Giannis. So
Giannis,
Sagittarius with the Capricorn moon. So he's very serious, disciplined, very goal oriented. So this is a very optimistic energy, right? So the thing about Sagittarius, they go with the flow, based on the energies that's around them. But they also like to pull through and keep everyone happy, and that's a good thing because, especially for a franchise. So
Check out this quote. Exactly what you're saying. This was his quote after this 42-point game. He said, "I was just out there playing. When I'm in the game, I don't really know what's going on. I'm just playing, locked in."
That's good. Yep, that's his energy, and
that's very Sagittarius. Like they're just
Sagittarius are like free going. I don't know. I can sense a Sagittarius based on how they talk and how they answer questions. They're very positive. I don't know. And they have a little bit of humor to them as well. Gigi Jackson, I like watching his interviews because that dude's a funny guy. When I first saw him, I didn't know what his sign was, but I'm like, this dude is funny, Sure enough, he was Sagittarius. Giannis the same way. You notice how Giannis talks. He's very positive, even against his opponents. He'll say something good about him, It's just that's just their energy. That's just the way they are. They're one of the luckiest signs of Zodiac because of that. But yeah, that's what Cooper Flag is. Sagittarius with the Capricorn, and Larry Bird was a Sagittarius as well. Same energy.
That makes so much sense. Larry Bird was one of the best trash talkers in the NBA's history. That makes total sense. Oh my God, I never thought about that. That makes total sense.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Larry Bird, the same sign as Cooper Flag.
So you tell me we got the reemergence of Cooper Flag. Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Cannot wait to see him in this league, man. I cannot wait to see him.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Well, what are your final words on tonight's episode, Zodiac?
Follow us on Twitter X at Zodiac GM and Hoopstrology.
And follow me, Jesus_Acevedo Jr. and follow the Bayou Stadium. And don't forget to subscribe. See ya.